Hello and welcome to this Philbert Flies review of FlyTampa's Las Vegas scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. You join me here on final approach to runway 26 right at Las Vegas McCarran Airport, and I'm starting with an approach as always to give you a look at the surrounding area and also to give you the opportunity to gauge the performance of this add-on on my system, which is comprised of an i7-8700K processor, 32GB of RAM and a 1080 Ti graphics card. You can find my current graphics settings on the community page of my YouTube channel. While we're talking about performance, you will notice a significant jump just after touchdown. I can assure you that this did not happen in the sim. The landing and rollout was perfectly smooth, but it's a glitch I sometimes get when recording video. I tried multiple recordings of this landing and it happened every time, so I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I'll leave you in peace to watch the rest of the approach and landing, and I'll join you again at a gate from where we will have a good look around this scenery together in different weather and lighting conditions. Welcome to, and indeed viva, Las Vegas. We're parked up here at D34 on the D concourse, and we'll start by having a look at the jetway connecting to the aircraft. So the jetway hood does go through the skin of the aircraft ever so slightly, but overall not a bad job. It certainly looks convincingly connected to me. And while we're here, let's take a look at the modelling and the texturing on the custom jetway itself. And as ever with FlyTampa, I think they've done an outstanding job here. Super crisp textures, I really like the rust and general weathering, and overall the whole thing looks very realistic indeed. Let's move on to the terminal building, or the D concourse building I should say, and see how well modelled and textured that is. Well, I think these textures are incredibly impressive. They're super crisp even when you get up this close. We've got a good amount of weathering along the top and various imperfections in the surface. We've also got tinted transparent glass windows and a partially modelled terminal interior, which we'll take a look at in a moment. But while we're here, let's take a look at this upper story and see how well they've done with that. Well, again, very impressive texturing, and I really like the detailed modelling with this sunshade type thing over here. Very nice indeed. The roof textures are slightly blurrier, they're not quite as high resolution, but you've got to make sacrifices somewhere in order to maintain a decent level of performance, and the roof is the place to do it in my opinion. You'll notice that this corrugated surface over here also has some imperfections in it, a few little dinks and marks here and there, and overall the whole thing looks very, very lifelike indeed. Let's take a look inside. So the first thing that I noticed the first time I came inside this concourse is that you can't see out of the windows at all. And that's fair enough. We've seen various implementations of terminal interior windows and none of them has been perfect. Either the window frames disappear or the window glass disappears or both, or you get strange flickering and anomalies. So the terminal interior is here if you want to come and have a look at it, and they've done a pretty nice job, but I think it's safe to assume that you'll be spending most of your time looking at it from the outside. And from the outside it looks really, really nice. Here we have the ramp control tower for the D gates, and again the quality of the modelling and texturing is absolutely superb. We've got a good amount of detail, the railings and staircases look really good. We've got antennas and a satellite dish on the roof. Unfortunately we don't have any transparent glass or interior modelling here, but that's a very small point, and in general I couldn't ask for more from a ramp control tower. This rather unusual roof light structure at the northeastern end of the D concourse is a good example of the high quality modelling included in this scenery. You'll notice that we have transparent glass in it, we have very, very nicely modelled roof panels, and you can even go right inside and look down on the departure area below, which includes things such as fruit machines, travellators, advertising hoardings and seats. Very nice job. Here we have Terminal 3 and the E gates, and there's absolutely nothing to moan about here at all. The interior modelling is done to the same standard we saw at Terminal D. It looks absolutely fantastic from outside and perfectly acceptable from within. The quality of the modelling and texturing on the exterior of the buildings is absolutely first class, and all in all this area looks incredibly lifelike. Over here we have Concourse C, which is also an absolute work of art. The modelling and texturing are absolutely fantastic, some of the best I've ever seen. Take a look at the weathering on this concrete texture here, and just the crispness, even when you get super close, it looks absolutely incredible. And again we have a modelled interior and some very convincing looking tinted glass. And here we have Concourse A. It looks much the same as Concourse B, so I'm not going to bother showing you both. But once again, try as I might, I just can't find anything to criticise here. It is a work of art. We have good quality texturing, excellent modelling, a terminal interior, transparent windows, weathering. There's nothing to dislike. It's as simple as that. This is the main terminal building in between the A and B concourses, and again it's very well modelled. We don't have any transparent glass here, flat textures have been used instead, but to be honest, I can forgive them that, and I hope you can too. At the northern end of the airport we have this general aviation apron, and FlyTampa have done just as good a job of this as they did with the main terminals. We have fantastically crisp textures, very detailed models, and the whole thing looks just fantastic. Here we have the main control tower, and while we don't have any transparent glass, it does look absolutely fantastic. Just look at the dirt just down here. The amount of detail is incredible. The ground textures at this airport might just be the best I've seen to date. They're incredibly lifelike. FlyTampa have matched the colours and materials used pretty perfectly, having compared this with the Google satellite imagery. And we've got a good amount of dirt and mess around the place. We even have certain things like these spills, I don't know if this is oil or water or what, probably oil, which reflect the light, and I haven't seen that yet. The resolution of the textures is absolutely fantastic. You'll notice a tiny bit of blurring around some of the lines if you get right down to ground level, but that doesn't matter. They certainly look super sharp from an aircraft cockpit. Talking of ground markings, these are done very, very nicely indeed. They are slightly imperfect, they're not too bright, they just look like the real thing. The taxiway textures in general are very, very good. They look super realistic with accurate rubber marking and other bits of discoloration here and there. There's the odd little anomaly, as you're seeing here, where the slabs don't line up properly, but that's a very small point. Another very small point, while I'm on small points, is the quality of the textures for the sandy areas in between the taxiways. They are a little bit low resolution and a little bit blurry. I don't think you would necessarily notice them from the cockpit of an aircraft, but yeah, if I'm going to be nitpicky, that could do with a little bit of work. This is the landside entrance to Terminal 3, and while the ground textures aren't the sharpest, in general FlyTampa have done an amazing job out here, with signage and other clutter that really makes it feel very lifelike. You will also notice that we have two taxis here. Now the taxis and buses pull in and stop and then pull away again. Now I've never seen attention to detail like that, it's really incredible. FlyTampa have modelled an absolutely humongous amount of landside detail in this scenery, and it would be impossible to show you all of it without this review running to 45 minutes plus. But suffice to say, it's very impressive. Just look at these elevated roads. That must have been hours and hours of painstaking work on its own. We also have animated trains running between the terminals. We have advertising hoardings, we have signage, car parks with 3D vehicles in them. It's just incredible, it really is. Here we have Las Vegas Airport by night, and the night lighting is absolutely superb. This is the D concourse, but you can take it from me that all of the gate areas look just as good as this. The apron lighting's superb, the terminal interiors look great at night, and the windows retain their tint so we don't have that bright, unrealistic glare that you sometimes get with transparent glass. Really, really impressive stuff. Here's the cargo apron by night. Now, I didn't show you this during the day because there's just too much to look at, but trust me when I say that these textures are every bit as good as what I've shown you so far. And the night lighting here is every bit as good as the night lighting over at the passenger terminals. Really impressive once again. And no surprises here, the runway and taxiway lighting looks very, very good as well. And here we have McCarran Airport in the rain. Now it looks very, very nice. The ground textures support the default reflections very nicely indeed. We actually have some dry patches, which I haven't seen before in any add-on. Now these are generally where the aircraft park, and I can only assume it has something to do with the texture used, which doesn't get reflective in the wet. Now I don't have a very strong opinion on that. Obviously it looks great underneath your aircraft. It doesn't look so great on the neighbouring stands as you're taxiing in. But I'll just show you it and you can make up your own mind whether or not that's something that bothers you. As with all transparent glass, you will notice that these windows pop out in poor visibility. And as I've said before, that's not something that any developer can do anything about as far as I'm aware. It's something that Asobo needs to fix. You can particularly see it in this terminal building over here. FlyTampa have put a huge amount of effort into modelling downtown Las Vegas as well, and while it's beyond the scope of this review to show you everything they've done, I will give you a sneak peek at some of the best bits. So you'll notice we have animated advertising screens, we have very well modelled and textured buildings, and we even have animated fountains. I'll show you a little more by night. And of course Las Vegas really comes into its own by night. And just look at this, it's truly, truly remarkable stuff. Here are the fountains I was talking about earlier, and the whole thing is just very impressive. So what can I say to sum all of this up? Well, put it this way, if I was to redo my top add-on airport so far video tomorrow, I would be agonising over whether this or Aerosoft's Cologne Bond should take the top spot. It's that good. The attention to detail is second to none. All the buildings are incredibly lifelike thanks to the super crisp high resolution textures. The ground textures are amazing, the terminal interiors look great both day and night, and the amount of detail included in downtown Las Vegas makes it easy to forget that this is just a flight simulator. Yes, I found one or two tiny areas for improvement, but they were so small and insignificant that they don't warrant a recap here. I cannot recommend this add-on highly enough. As ever, thank you very much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my stuff. If you're feeling generous, you can also donate to the channel using the Streamlabs link in the top left or at buymeacoffee.com/filbertflies. Hope to see you back again soon. Bye bye.